Let's say you run this kubectl run command to schedule an Nginx pod in a Kubernetes cluster. The kubectl communicates with the Kubernetes API server by sending a HTTPS post request that contains the complete pod specification. Before simply accepting the request, the Kube-API server performs several checks that includes authentication, verifying who the user is, authorization, checks if the user has required permissions using RBAC or role-based access controls, and pass it through the admission controllers to enforce any policies or improve security and governance, and schema validation, ensuring the YAML or JSON structure is correct. If the request passes all the checks, the API server stores the desired state in the etcd database. At this stage, the pod status is officially pending, and it does not have a node assigned to it yet. The Kube-Scheduler continuously watches the API server for unassigned pods. Noticing the new Nginx pod, it evaluates the cluster to select the best worker node for it. The scheduler doesn't just pick a random node, it filters and scores them based on several factors, including the resource request, basically the CPU and memory availability, taints and tolerations, node affinity or node anti-affinity, pod affinity or pod anti-affinity, and topology spread constraints. Once the scheduler selects the perfect node, it does not contact the worker node directly. Instead, it communicates this decision back to the API server, which updates the pod specification in the etcd database. Only at this stage, the node name field gets updated for the pod. The kubelet running on each worker node continuously watches the Kube-API server for pods assigned to its specific node. When it notices that the pod's node name field matches its own host name, the kubelet takes ownership and becomes responsible for making the desired state a reality. The kubelet examines the pod specification and communicates with the container runtime, like containerd or cri-o. This communication occurs over gRPC through the CRI or the container runtime interface. Before any application container starts, the container runtime creates a pod sandbox, often managed by a lightweight infrastructure container known as a POS container. The sandbox acts as the foundational environment in which all containers in the pod will reside. It creates and holds open, shared kernel resources like Linux namespaces, IPC, UTS, PID depending on the config, network namespace, or the shared hostname. While network environments and host names are shared, containers maintain isolated file systems by default, unless explicit Kubernetes volumes are mapped to them. At this point, the pod infrastructure is built, but its networking is completely unconfigured. This is the isolated, blind and mute state we discussed at the beginning of this lecture. The kubelet itself does not configure networking. Instead, right after the container runtime builds the pod sandbox, this runtime invokes the configured container network interface plugin. The runtime passes key environment variables and metadata to the CNI plugin, including the pod name and namespace, container ID, network namespace path, which is created by the runtime, and the default interface name, ETH0. The CNI plugin receives an add command indicating it is the time to set up the networking for this new pod. The plugin now prepares networking for the pod. The CNI plugin leaps into action to execute 4 critical tasks. 1. Accesses the network namespace, means it enters a dedicated network environment carved out by the runtime for the pod, and wires a virtual cable. It provisions up a virtual Ethernet pair, often called as veth pair. One end sits inside the pod, and the other end plugs directly into the host machine. And it allocates an IP address So the CNI plugin invokes the IPAM or IP address management sub-plugin to assign a unique IP address to the pod so it has a distinct network identity. And finally, it configures the routing. It updates the routing tables inside the pod so network packets know exactly how to reach the gateway and find their way to the rest of the cluster. When networking configuration is complete, the CNI plugin returns a success response back to the container runtime. At this point, the pod has fully functioning network interface and a unique IP address, but the actual Nginx application container is still not running. Before the container can start, the container runtime checks if Nginx image exists locally on the worker node. If it doesn't, the runtime pulls the image layers from the Docker hub or your configured container registry over the network and unpacks them. With the image downloaded, the container runtime launches the actual Nginx application container inside the already prepared pod sandbox. Before the sandbox networking was configured by the CNI in the previous step, the Nginx container instantly inherits and uses the pod's network namespace and ETH0 interface. The kubelet checks in with the runtime asking, is the Nginx container running successfully? Once confirmed, the kubelet immediately begins monitoring the health of the container by executing any configured probes like the startup probes to see if the application has started successfully, the Liveness probe to know if the container needs to be restarted, the Readiness probe to determine if the pod is ready to accept public or internal network traffic. Once the runtime reports the container is fully operational, the kubelet sends a message back to the Kube-API server. The API server updates the pod status in etcd from pending to running. The pod is now officially alive. So that's not the end of it. So there will be an ongoing reconciliation. So the process doesn't end just because the pod is running. The kubelet continuously monitors the node to ensure the actual state matches the desired state. Say, if the Nginx process crashes, the kubelet instructs the runtime to restart it according to the pod's defined restart policy. The kubelet periodically reports the health and status of both the pod and the worker node back to the API server. If the pod is deleted by a user, the kubelet instructs the runtime to gracefully stop the containers. Once the containers are down, the runtime invokes the CNI plugin with the del command, which cleanly removes the pod's network interface, releases the IP back to the pool, and deletes the local routing table.